Hello everyone, I'm Heather. In a break from BookTube today. Actually, we had a break from BookTube last week, didn't we? With the song tag. It's fine. I promise this is a BookTube channel. In a break from BookTube this week, I think we're going to have a mild foray, light foray, just a dip if you will, into ZineTube. Today's project, I think, stay with me here, hear me out, is to make a zine about the hidden gems of South Wales. Are you excited yet? I'm excited. As you all know, actually you may not know, but I'm going to tell you now. It's cool. I'm American. I'm from Seattle, but I live in Cardiff in Southeast Wales, and I have done like 10, 11, 12 years. It just sounded like a really long time when I said it out loud just then. But I love Wales. I love living here. I love culture, language, history. I love everything I can see in a day trip just from my house, like castles, loads of ancient stuff. It's brilliant. At home in America, anything older than like 50 years old, it's got a fence around it, you've got to pay to get in, it's a huge deal. Whereas here, you've got sort of 500, 600, 700-year old stuff just sort of like in the backs of parking lots behind pubs, just sort of mouldering. They preserve what they can, but when you've got so much history and so much stuff just sort of lying about, they've got more castles here than anywhere else in Europe. You can only preserve so much. Like, why bother with stuff that's not, you know, your best stuff? I've spent over 10 years dragging my Welsh husband to these random sites around Cardiff or whatever, so I consider myself to be a connoisseur of the hidden gems of South Wales. I've got a couple of people visiting me this summer. Like, I've had a lot of people visit me in the 10 years I've been here, but I've got quite a few actually come in this year. They're like, Heather, what should we see? Where should we go? Like, I'm gonna drive them around, obviously, because I want to see them and I want to hang out. But they're like, you know, while you're working, we don't want to nag you. We want to be there a lot. Like, what should we see? And I'm like, girl, ding, I'll make you a guide. Okay, zines. You probably know what zines are, but just so we're all on the same page, quick primer, okay? I make a lot of mini zines, like these ones, where it's a book, but it's one piece of A4 paper folded up, and then cut in the middle, and then folded down the sides. So each sort of thing has got a cover, and then each sort of page. You can do it digitally, where it's like photos like this, and you do it on the computer and then print it out. Or you can do it where you just have a piece of paper and you like colour or paint or draw or whatever on the pages sort of like this, and then fold it back out into A4, scan it in, and then you can print off copies then. And you do have larger zines, not mini zines. They're sort of just one A4 page folded in half, so that each page is like an A5. But I'm thinking, and here's my thoughts. Let me know if this isn't a good idea, okay? Because I'm running with it. I'm running with things here. My thoughts are, if we do it as a mini zine, we can do a couple of them. We could do like a series, you know, because there's a million things in South Wales that are brilliant. If we do like a series of 5 of them, with each one being a day trip, you know, like you leave Cardiff in the morning and then you blop, 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 and then come back, and that's one day and that's one zine, then we could print it double-sided, and then on the other side of the zine could be a map, you know, like here's Cardiff, and then like here's all the bits along the way. So then you then just fold it up again and like have the zine like that. I think it'll work, but we'll see. So I've got my sidekick here, Anwen. She's a Welsh language speaker, so she comes in handy. She brings skills, okay, and creativity to the project. Okay, we're gonna go tomorrow. We'll start early-ish, not too early, just early-ish because it's Easter break. Okay, we'll bring a packed lunch.
Got it. Wait,
yeah?
Are we going to bring, like, the blanket to sit on the grass?
Well, we can bring a blanket if you want. Like, it might be raining, mind, because this is Wales. But we'll bring wellies, you know, waterproof gear. I'm excited.
Can I wear my silver ones?
What, the cute ones? Girlfriend, of course you can wear the cute ones. Okay, first things first, we're going to hit this hard with a picnic. We're going out, middle of nowhere. We're not messing around. We need sustenance. Don't judge a girl for her sandwich choices. Also, please don't judge me for my child's sandwich choices. We're going all out today. Okay, first stop on the list is St. Lithian's burial chamber. This is a Stone Age tomb, just chilling in the middle of a farmer's field. The field belongs to the farmer, so sometimes his cows are in the way. It's cool, just go around them. But the monument itself is part of Cadu, which is a public body. You can go in there, it's got signs, it says about it, it's fine to be there. Just walk across the field. So what you see is just the skeleton of the tomb. When it was actually built thousands of years ago, it had a mound and rocks around it over the top. In 2012, they did some official digging around by here and found evidence of that, but the actual tomb itself underneath it hasn't ever been excavated, so we don't know who the hell's in there. We're just going to leave them alone. The traditional local name for this monument translates to something like the Greyhound's Kennel, which they think comes from a time when people had no idea what the heck this thing was, so they let folklore make up the difference. They think it comes from a King Arthur story in the Mabinogion, where King Arthur's chasing this wild boar across huge swaths of land with a bunch of dogs. It's actually a really cool story. I'll put a link below where you can find it. There are also a bunch of cool local legends, like if you whisper into the tomb on Halloween, your wish will be granted. Sometimes you find weird pagan ritualistic stuff here from modern pagans, but I think this is actually just an Easter egg that got missed. What I love most about the places we're going to go to today is that there's almost never anyone here. It's just you and the quiet and nature and a landscape that feels like it hasn't changed in 1,000 years. Except the cow poop. Watch out for the cow poop. There's always cow poop. Okay, on to the next place, which is actually just down the road. This is Tinkinswood Burial Chamber. It's another Stone Age burial mound, but a much better place to have a picnic. Again, it's a light, potentially muddy trudge through a farmer's field. Any sort of sheep or cows you find, don't worry about them, just go around them, but mind the poop. This burial chamber is about 6,000 years old and has about 50 people buried inside. A lot of the skeletons they found were incomplete, and I think it's because the Stone Age family members of the dead used to take them out for parties and rituals, which sounds super weird, but I think I'm for it. They excavated this grave first of all in 1914, and they put in this pillar to support the capstone. I think if I was around in 1914, I'd have been really upset about how hideous the pillar is, but nowadays it's just sort of like an extra bit of history. This pit thing is actually a Bronze Age addition added way later. It shows archaeologists that people found this place sacred for thousands of years, even beyond the Neolithic period when it was built. Again, there's nearly no one here apart from us, and this is my absolute favorite part of these places. I've been to Stonehenge a million times and it's massive and there's so much history there, but there's also like a gift shop where you can buy a little sheep and it's weird, it ruins the vibe. There are local legends about how if you spend the night here on Midsummer's Night or Midwinter's Night or the night before May 1st, crazy stuff happens and you either die, go mad, or become a poet. It's much easier to feel the vibe for that kind of stuff when there's not a toilet block in a cafe, you know what I mean? Okay, this is the best place to get the picnic out. Please don't look at me, I'm disgusting. There's no classy way to eat a sandwich from a tinfoil sitting on a rock. Okay, off to the next place. This one's actually a bit further down the road. It's a good 15 minutes or so. The roads are tiny and really boxed in, so I wouldn't recommend taking like a camper or a minivan or anything like that, but I have seen people do it. Like, if you've got the skills, you've got the skills. The sign for this next place is always behind a massive bush and can be easy to miss. I think when I do my zine, I'll do what 3 words locations, not just for the monument, but also for the best place to stick your car. This stop is for Old Beaupre Castle, which isn't so much a castle as a 14th century manor house. To get to this one, it's not just one big farmer's field away, it's actually 3 little ones. To get to each new field, you have to climb over one of these kissing gates. They're definitely official gates put in by Caddo, so don't feel like you're sort of trudging up on anyone's property. But they can be hard to get around if you have like mobility issues, or if you're little, you may need a helping hand. Again, watch out for poop and the animals that make it. They're generally friendly, but obviously massive, so use a bit of caution. Come on, monkey, gotta go. The house was first built in the 1300s, but the vast majority of what we see today is the product of a huge renovation in the 1500s by a local rich family called the Bassett family. They built the massive front gatehouse and also a Greek-style porch in the inner courtyard, all before losing their fortune completely in the English Civil War in the 1600s, and the house passing to a relative who couldn't be bothered to upkeep it. Records show that by the time that guy finally sold it in the early 1700s, it was already so dilapidated it was only like half habitable, so it's really been a ruin ever since. Hence why there's still crazy good graffiti on the inner porch from like the 17 and 1800s. I'm always super impressed by 18th and 19th century people's ability to carve their names and dates in stone. Like when you match it to something that's sort of done nowadays where someone's taken their car keys and just scratched a bit of something on a wall, it looks actually professional. Anyway, with all the sort of hidey holes and upstairs bits and side rooms and places to explore in this place, you really could spend quite a lot of time here. You could picnic here, you can make a whole day just of this one place. Also, because this is another one of those places where there's never really anyone else around, there'd be no crowd sort of forcing you to go before you were ready. The only real limitation would be closing hours, and I think that's about 5 p.m. But for us, it's time to move on to the next place. I can see my kid getting really attached to these cows. I'm not really sure what's going to happen when I tell her we definitely have to leave and they can't come. Or more importantly, when I tell them they can't come. The next stop now is another 15 minutes or so down the road to Llancarvan. This is a tiny village that always sounds like it has way more lawnmowers than it should do when they're all going at once, even in the dead of winter. I don't understand why, but I'm not a person who's going to judge a person for their lawn care, so we'll move on to what we're really here for. We're here for the Church of St. Cadog, which was built in about the year 1200. but it's really just the latest Christian building to have been built on the site. Previously, this land was the site of a monastery that was built in 650 AD by St. Cadog himself. He's not a very exciting zine, but his Norman-era life story is one of the stories historiographers use when they're trying to prove King Arthur was real, as he does make several appearances. My kid just said that these tombs look like vampire tombs, which I'm pretending doesn't super freak me out. Okay, the main draw for this church is the wall paintings. In 2008, the walls of this church were completely white, but part of the plaster fell off, revealing a bit of red underneath. The members of the church realized straight away what could potentially be underneath hundreds of years of whitewash, and they called in a restoration team. The team recovered what is now considered to be one of the best examples of 15th century church painting anywhere in Britain. The paintings depict the story of St. George and the Dragon and also of the 7 deadly sins. It's so wild to stand in this completely empty church and look up at the same walls that people in the 1400s used to look up at every Sunday. Another surreal part of this church is that the floor is paved with 18th century gravestones. Also, behind this nondescript looking counter with all the paint tins is this grave marker from 1653. Here lieth the body of Richard Kerr, just chilling back here with the plugs and the paint. They've got so much old stuff, they're using this one as a display for their side hustle, just to show you paintings you could buy for 20 quid. This chest isn't even labelled, it's just old as F and that's all you know about it. The church also houses really rare tabernacle wood carvings from the 1500s. The reason these wood carvings are so rare is because Henry VIII, in his dissolution of the monasteries, destroyed them all. There's only a few left in Britain. It's a huge mystery as to why these wood carvings are in this back of nowhere church and remained unrecorded until 1771. Were they maybe smuggled out of a monastery somewhere and hidden in this church for safekeeping? But we've come to the end of our church trip and we very much deserve a pint and a snack. The last stop on our journey is just 5 minutes down the road at the Blue Anchor Inn. This pub has been here since the year 1380, back when the nearby port of Aberthow was one of the biggest ports in the area. It was a port well known for smuggler activity. Records tell a story of a drunk smuggler in 1735 who had to be chased by customs policemen on horseback before giving up. An even older record from 1387 has the king directing the mayor of Bristol to investigate smuggling operations into Aberthow. The pub nowadays is just as bustling and busy as I imagine it would have been back when it was servicing thirsty smugglers, which honestly is for the best because a pub like this when it's empty just feels haunted as F. This is the happiest I've seen James all day. He definitely deserves this pint for driving us around on tiny roads. Now it's back to Cardiff to get started on our zine. Well, just kidding. Kato and I are going to spend the rest of this day watching episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We'll get to the zine tomorrow. Okay, to business, the fun part. Making our zine, right? So my original idea was a mini zine where we could do, the pages about the stuff and then open it up and have a map on the inside. But my gears have been going, okay, stay with me here. How do you feel about doing a bigger one instead? I feel like the pages themselves isn't going to be enough space to sort of properly chat about what's awesome about these places. So I'm thinking something like this. I didn't make this zine, I got it online. It's a zine about zines, it's very meta. But basically, it's one A4 page of paper folded and then a bunch of pages put in. So you can make as many pages as you want, you just staple them in the middle. This then would give us more space to chat about our awesomeness and then also give us space to have maybe a full spread map in the front or in the middle. I don't think we need this much space, so I'm thinking quarter size. Still A4, but folded into 4 instead of 2. First things first, we need to get our layout right. And trust me, I have messed this up many times. I have made the book already in sort of a mock-up. We're going to put it on the computer and that's where we're going to make it because all the pictures are digital. It's just going to be easier. But to do that, we have to know where everything's going to lie when we have it as 2 A4 pieces of paper. Okay, so I've made my book with 2 pieces of A4 paper cut in half and then folded in half again to make a quarter book. And I've gone through and put where I want everything. So I want a map here. I want this one to be about St. Lithians. I want this one to be about Tinkerswood, like that. And then what I'm going to do is basically reconstruct them as pieces of paper. Okay, so I've written those things down in a sort of guide as to what I want. And I'm going to use the guide to make the zine on Canva. If you've never used Canva before, you definitely should do that because it's badass and also super free. Like, you can get the extra version that has like extra things that you can get for money, but I never do that. I only do the free one, and it has everything I need. So I've laid it out with picture holders. Like, this isn't going to be the picture that's in it, obviously. It's just sort of sitting there as a place marker. But each page has 4 squares in the layout that I want them. And the ones that are going to be on the back of each other are next to each other in the line. So it'll print out one page and then the second page immediately behind it, so that when you cut it and turn it round and fold it, it all fits properly. Does that make sense? Anyone who wants to give zining a go but is super confused by this really quick explanation, please just let me know and I'll walk you through some bits. Like, in the comments below, just message me and we can chat. Now I'm just gonna go in and stick in all my bits. Okay, I think I've done it. I've laid it out on a piece of paper. At the office tomorrow, I'll print it out and see if it actually works. Like, if it doesn't line up or whatever, it doesn't sort of work like I wanted to, I may have to redo it. But at the minute, it looks like it's sorted. It is 1:41 a.m. I have got work tomorrow. What am I doing? Just sort of get into the zone when I've got some sort of mission in my mind, and this sort of time of night, it can just go and go and go without me noticing what time it is. Like, in the daytime, I've got other things on, you know, like my kids bugging me about stuff, my husband's bugging me about stuff, my dogs are bugging me about stuff, I got work, I got stuff I gotta do, you know. But like, when it's this time of night, literally nothing lets me know I've been here for 3 hours. It's not until I come to a natural stopping point on my own that I suddenly think, oh my god, it is really late at night. I am so hungry. I need to pee and I have left it way too long. I'm gonna go to bed before I make myself ridiculous, but at the office tomorrow I'll print this off and we'll see if it worked. I've just printed it off now. Like, I don't want to get too excited, but I think it's gonna work. Y'all, I have done it! So I still have to staple it, right? This is what it looks like. It's got my map, and then it's got each location, and it's got like a what 3 words sort of location finder and a zip code, and then also a what 3 words identifier for where you can park your car at each place. Like, some of them have a parking lot, so it's obvious, but some of them it's not really, you know, you can't really tell from the map. And if you print it and then cut it quite close to the edge, it lines up as well with each other page like that. Oh my god, it's turned out so good. Like, at the back, I've got like book recommendations for like what to read while you're on the trip, or like before the trip or whatever. Like, every time I go away, I think, oh, I'm going to Spain, right? I'm going to Barcelona. I need to read a book that's going to get me in the mood for Barcelona. And then when I go there, I need to take other books, you know, like things that take place in Barcelona, or like things with like a Barcelona vibe. Anyway, recs for that. And then also like extra places to hit on the same itinerary, like ones that are right next to the ones that we're going to, if you have extra time to sort of hit. Guys, this was so brilliant. This was so amazing. This was so fun. I think I'm going to put this on my Etsy if you're interested. I think also because the price of shipping nowadays, my god, like Royal Mail put their prices up again. What are we, in the apocalypse? Like, I think I'm going to try to do an electronic version just for free on my Etsy, so you can like get it, and then I'll have instructions about how to like make it into this, like print it off and then just like stick it together. Also, I fully 100% encourage everyone to do this, like where you live or where you're from or whatever, like the gems of the place that you're in, you know, helps you really to appreciate like things around you don't normally sort of think of. And also, it's fun as hell to make a zine, and like if you do that, please let me know so that I can like get one off you, because I want to collect loads of different kinds of stuff like this. Okay, if you've gotten this far, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments at all, please let me know. I would love that. Put them down below. And I'll see you next week. Okay, bye bye bye.